Goldman Sachs, subpoenaed by the Manhattan DA's office over activities leading up to the financial crisis. Look, the DA's office says this is just a request for information and doesn't necessarily mean Goldman has done anything wrong. But the subpoena follows the April release of a 639-page Senate report showing Goldman Sachs, or Government Sachs as it's known, steered investors toward mortgage securities they knew were junk. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Ben Ferguson is a radio talk show host in Memphis. Anna-Sigga Nicolazzi, I love saying that, is a prosecutor, and Joey Jackson is an attorney. Anna-Sigga, let's start with you. What do you make of this?
Well, just the fact that there are now subpoenas out, it's obvious going to be a bumpy road for Goldman. But more importantly right now is for the investors is that their stocks already dropped. But when you look at it as a prosecutor or from the legal side of it, it is technically just a request for information, a legal one. And so we don't know the end result here, what's going to happen. It's going to be a very long investigation with voluminous materials that are going to come in. But either way, I think that is going to spell trouble for Goldman and obviously for their investors as well. It's going to be a long haul here, no matter what the end result is.
Joey, do you agree?
Well, here's the problem. It's about consumer confidence, Jerry. First of all, this is my old office doing what they do. And this is Cy Vance taking up where Morgenthau left off. They're really known for this. They're in the hub of Manhattan. There's a financial industry all around them. And you know what? If there's smoke, perhaps there's fire. So right now it's investigatory. They're doing what prosecutors do. I suspect that they'll weed out the information. And if there's something amiss, they'll get to the bottom of it. But the problem I have, Jerry, is that consumer confidence is at issue. And that's why you see Goldman down, down, down.
You think consumer confidence is what's driving Goldman's price?
No. What I think happens, though, is that whenever you talk about finances and regulatory things, you want to make sure that everybody is above board. And so if the DA investigates, sometimes it's not even the crime, it's the perception.
Well,
and if there's a perception problem,
you believe their stock price is being driven by the news. Ben, are we all being too even-handed here? What do you make of this case?
No, look, Goldman Sachs, here's the thing. I used to own, keyword used to own some Goldman Sachs. I don't right now. Why? Because I think they're going to be in trouble here, mainly because they purposely misled investors into junk buys in the home market so they personally could profit while using other people's money to literally ruin some of their lives. So you know what? They deserve what they get. And the bad press, they deserve it as well. And if their stock goes down, they deserve that as well. I don't feel sorry for anybody at Goldman Sachs right now at all.
Ben, it's allegedly. Remember, this is what investigations are all about. They allege to do something. When we see that they did it, then we could second you. But right now, no.
Hey, this is the first time in my life that I genuinely enjoy the words allegedly. So I'll take that right now.
Yeah, and led by a Democratic senator, lest we not forget. Here's another political story. House Republicans want another crack at Elizabeth Warren following a tense hearing last week. Take a listen to this.
Congressman, we had an agreement.
You had no agreement.
We had an agreement for the time this hearing would occur.
You're making this up,
You asked it.
Not getting along so well. Okay, despite that, the presidential advisor is apparently ready to oblige. Ben, this is like, you don't even have to light a match in that room, you know?
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. If you're going to go before Congress, get ready to actually answer the questions. I watched part of this, and she looked like she was told by the administration to go in and stonewall, don't answer questions, don't worry about it. You've got a job when you leave, and you're going to do what we tell you to do, and you don't really work for them. And guess what? It didn't play well, and that's why they said, clear a whole day off your calendar, because we got a lot more questions to ask you, and I don't blame them for doing it.
I think the Republicans' real objection here is there's not a lot of oversight of the Consumer Protection Organization that Elizabeth Warren would like to head. What do you make of this whole debate?
You know, I think it's an interesting one. I mean, I think Elizabeth Warren ultimately is going to be able to handle herself, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4 days in front of Congress. And at the establishment of a new agency, if there's legitimate questions that need to be answered, she is just going to need to be there and cancel her schedule, or at least be able to devote a full day, which was one of the problems here. But I think that this one, I'm not a big fan of big government. I think you end up with more agencies, more bureaucracy, and more wasteful spending. But if this one actually does what it's supposed to do, then it might be a good thing. Whether it needs to be permanent versus something temporary, I think that remains to be seen. But the problem is that although they claim they're going to consolidate a lot of these things that have come on before and able to take multiple statutes and multiple agencies, put it into one, If no one's watching what they're doing, couldn't we potentially end up with the same problem all over again?
I don't know that anybody thinks there's going to be consolidation. What do you make of it?
Well, Ben would disagree with me, of course, but I'll tell you what this is about. It's about politics. What happens here is twofold. Number one, the Republicans are upset. Why? Because you have another regulatory entity. You have a financial regulation that was passed, and you have an oversight organization that's going to oversee it. Furthermore, Jerry, what do you have? You have Obama appointing her as an advisor, thereby not going for Senate confirmation. It's all politics, 100%.
Ben, you want to weigh in on this?
It's all bureaucracy. Yeah, it's all bureaucracy. I mean, you look at this woman and you see that she has basically the administration saying you can do whatever you want to do and no one's supposed to be able to question you. And the Obama administration forgot that the money that's going to come for this bureaucracy, for this another thing of government jobs that I really don't think is going to do anything, is coming from Congress. So guess what? You got to play by the rules.
Right.
You don't get everything you want.
Right. Well, and of course, Congress doesn't even control their budget. So, I mean, it's an interesting debate. All right, Tiger Woods, he's back. He's still big business despite seeing a handful of sponsors jump ship after his sex scandal. Forbes says the golf pro is still the highest paid athlete by a huge margin. Tiger pulled in $75 million last year. Kobe Bryant is second with $53 million. Okay. Joey, weigh in on this.
Any publicity is good publicity, Jerry. Listen,
come on.
He had a major scandal. He's bouncing
That's
back.
not good publicity.
Everybody knows.
Nobody believes that for a second.
Jerry, everybody knows that Tiger is down, but he will rise again. We know that. He's the best in the world. He's going through a tough patch right now. All of the sponsors who left him, they are going to be very sorry because he will be on top, and the finances and the money shows it. Ann disagrees.
Yeah, I have to say I disagree.
I just see her looking at me like, no.
We're holding up the women's side of the panel here. What do you have to say, Ann?
You know, well, I mean, when I first hear this, of course, I think how nice to have a talent that I could even maybe make a little piece of that pie. But look, he definitely is the best in the world. But I think people are letting him know they're not so pleased with what has gone on here. And when you look at the numbers, he's down $75 million.
He's not the best in the world anymore.
Oh, he's down $75 million. I feel so bad for him.
He's making 75.
Right,
but
he's down
from
to
105,
it.
which is significant.
And let's talk about the real performance that counts, and that's on the golf course. Ben, help me out here. What do you make of this story?
Yeah, you know what? Don't tell me your personal life does not affect your public life. I mean, look at Tiger Woods. He's not winning. He can't win right now. He can't even barely. The only thing he could do is buy a win on the Nationwide Tour, maybe. And then he's always hurt now. I mean, I thought he was supposed to be this Tiger Woods guy that could play through injuries, hit balls left-handed, and then close his eyes and sink putts.
Should we bring back Arnold, Ben?
It's not working.
Arnold,
guys.
I'll be back.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Good. I don't think so.
I personally would like to see him come back. I mean, when he plays well, it's a magical thing. All right. Ben, Joey, and Anna Siga, thanks so much. Great roundtable.
Thanks for having us.
Offers